All right, everyone, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. You can find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So we do have NVDA earnings, highly anticipated, obviously, after the bell, and I'm going to try and cover it here in real time. Should be out in about 2-3 minutes here. The side note, though, we did have CrowdStrike out, and they are higher. So CrowdStrike getting a bid, Salesforce also getting a bid, and Affirm just reporting too, and that's getting a monster bid at 37 now. So that's all the way up to the highs, back to pretty much the highs of June almost. So a good move for Affirm. So that's 3 out of 3. Let's see if we can make it 4 out of 4 here. And today felt really trappy. If we look on the intraday here, and I got my after hours up, but I'll just get rid of that. But you can see, we're talking about this choppy range here. And I said everything inside of this is noise, and that's really been kind of true here. Expect NVIDIA to move the market, but we came down here. We had a tight range. We dipped down really hard. Little bear flag there, failed breakdown, but then we had a lower high, and we sold off right into the basically the low end of this range here. And then a huge bid towards the end of the day. So was this a shakeout? We'll find out here in a few minutes. One thing that would make me think that it is if you're going to get a bear move here, or like sneak a bear move in, I would want to be sideways in 2 o'clock, 2:30, and then you sneak them and hit it down really hard into the bell. That way you don't give time, bulls time to react. But you weren't sneaking up on anybody with this down move here, as we were just kind of doing it all day long. And another thing too, and again, we'll find out if this is true or not, but the SMH here, that was kind of the guide here. So we had a higher high intraday at 1250. You can see the spiders did as well, and the Qs were outperforming it. Then when the market dipped down, the SMH never made a new low. And even though the Qs did make a new low, it took it until, if we go to like a 5-minute, for instance, you can see in the SMH never made new lows, but it took it until the 155 candle of the day on the 5-minute, whereas the spiders did it pretty much almost at 345 or at 145. So the Qs were outperforming off the lows. The Russell was, excuse me. The Russell was outperforming in the morning, and the Dow was, and then as we started to sell off, we started to see that flip. So SMH here, kind of putting in that V shape and never making new lows. So again, something to watch for. Always looking at the semis, something I've done pretty much my entire career, not just recently because the semis are leading, but it's something to do with my entire career here. And we got a nice bid off the lows here. It's about 420, so we'll see if that does come out here. But big volume surge there at almost 2 o'clock, and that marked the low of the day on the Qs there. So let's take a look at NVIDIA and see if we are out. Looks like there is. Let me get the after hours on. And so it's moving all over the map here. There is about a 15-point implied move in. And it looks like it got a little bit of a front run bid ahead of time. So there's NQ up and down right now. Algo's trying to figure it out. And I don't see a headline number here, but at least not yet. But market is chopping around. We'll see. There was a lot of hedges bought. And again, like the SMH, the NVIDIA did have the higher low intraday. Right now it is up fractionally. Surprised the numbers aren't out yet. I mean, I know they are, but just trying to get a print. Either way, while we're doing that, by the way, SMCI took a really good hit today, and I think that kind of priced the market for perfection to the downside. If we take a look at, again, like the intradays here, big sell-off here, a lot of fear out there that NVIDIA might underperform, and a lot of hedges being bought. It's flat to positive right now after hours, up about $1 now. But SMCI, there was a GEX level for Friday at 400, so that's probably the low of the week. But I don't really like this stock until it gets down to in this area here, and that's the problem when you go parabolic here. By the way, parabola and fraud go hand in hand, and yeah, they delayed that filing And no support built on the way up. Massive collapse here for SMCI. Looks like it's getting a little bit. It got a nice bid off the bottom there at 400, but now we're seeing NVIDIA start to bid back up. We'll see. There was a lot of GEX for Friday at 130 and some charm, so we'll see if it can get back up there. But overall, kind of a nothing burger so far. 130 is right here. And again, 15-point implied move, so 140 would probably be kind of your max move based on the GEX for this Friday. But so far, not a really decisive move in either direction. Let's take a look at ES. Yeah, ES basically flat right now, and NQ as well. Let's take a look at Salesforce. Yeah, Salesforce still holding on, CrowdStrike holding on, and Affirm holding on. So if NVIDIA starts to recover and bids up, this market should get going towards the upside here. You can see here on the NQ as well, kind of like a pullback pattern there. If we look on, say, the 4-hour, this is what I was looking at earlier, you can make a case you kind of just got a tightening range there. You could draw this one of two ways. You could draw it like a falling wedge that got sliced there and now is pierced back up, or we can just duplicate this and just say, hey, it's a flag. But either way, NVIDIA bouncing all over the map, so no impulse here. I'm a little surprised. There's no impulsive move. Okay, so there we go. Revenue beat. Earnings per share. Looks like they just barely beat on gross margin, and basically flat on earnings per share. So that's perhaps why it's not getting an impulse here. And now back to the lows. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit here. Yeah, NQ coming in a little bit, nothing terrible yet. We'll see if this turns around, see if Jensen says something on the earnings call. But now trading around 121. So we'll see how that shapes up. But obviously this range is going to be important. We talked about there being a lot of noise here. We came down to the lower end. We spiked it, got a really good bid off that, and then we came back up here in the after hours. 5,600's been a point of control for the last 2 weeks here. Back above that, again, it gets very simple. 5,640 and then 50 are your levels to break on the upside. Below this area here, 55.60, 55 even, that's where you start to get concerned. If we close below this breakup bar low here from August 19th, that's where we'd get concerned as a bull. But right now we're still inside of a choppy range, and at this point, who knows, maybe it gets pushed off, maybe the decision gets pushed off until PCE. It's still very early. We do have that on Friday. We get jobs data tomorrow, so we'll see what the market gives us here. Now NVIDIA 117, pretty good sell there. So I think max move to the downside is about 110 if that does play out. So that would be all the way down here. But again, this is still very early here. So, all right. But yeah, triple Qs here again. Yeah, down about 5 points here in the after hours. CNQ, yep, dipping down basically back to the lows of the day, and right into that there. So we'll see if this this trend line ends up offering any support again. Again, I just drew that in there arbitrarily. You're also coming into this breakup bar as well. We'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, it's hard to do these in real time when you have this move, when you have a move like this. Now NVIDIA trying to get back to 117. Either way, so we'll give this face value analysis right now. Again, you want to see the Qs hold this breakup bar low. Again, NVIDIA kind of recover by the end of the day, or by the end of the day tomorrow. And SPX, again, bottom line, it's at 55.50. So those are the big levels that we'll be watching, regardless of whether or not NVIDIA recovers here in the after hours. IWM here basically flat in the after hours. Again, it's not too much affected here. But 1, 2, 3 pullback pattern there on the daily, and honestly, no real problems with the IWM. But a close below 214.79 would be problematic in the short term, as that would negate that breakup bar there. Dow here is fractionally higher. Remember, CRM, big component, and CRM is up nicely. So Dow able to shake off NVIDIA. Well, NVIDIA's not even in the Dow, but CRM is, and not a bad pattern there on the Dow. It actually came nicely off the lows here. SMH looks like we're getting a bounce here. Yep, so NVIDIA back to 121.5. So it's going to be a wild one here. We'll see what Jensen says. So SMH back to the 230 is a wide spread, but basically back to the lows. It'll be interesting to see if this turns around. But wild price action here. IGV was actually pretty decent in the morning, then it kind of came down sharply, held this trend line again. So we held this trend line, held the 50 MA. And again, it's all going to come down to NVIDIA tomorrow. If NVIDIA stabilizes, I think the whole market gets a bid. We see some vol selling. In fact, speaking of vol, yeah, VIX still off the highs, even with, this is VIX futures here. Yeah, NVIDIA right back up. So it's a hard stock to keep down. Everybody wants to buy dips in this thing. So NQ right back in the range. If this thing, if NVIDIA recovers, I think we're going to squeeze. So because you're going to have a lot of hedges come off. Let's see about ES here. Yeah, ES is in way better shape. So, all right, I'm going to be bouncing around a lot here, but Dow Transport's green on the day. So green in a down tape, and they held up really all day long. There's a lot of sectors that held up nicely today. So there's almost two markets here. Again, it's big tech. If you look at the heat map, big tech red. It's been the case the last couple of days, but again, on an intraday basis, what told me we're going to come off the lows is we had big tech strength towards the end of the day, or towards the middle of the end of the day. All of a sudden, the NASDAQ starts outperforming. Spider's making a new low, and then tech kind of comes back. So we'll see where we end. Yeah, Spiders are only down $1 in the after hours now. So transport's holding up 1, 2, 3 pullback pattern, just like the Russell. A lot of charts look like that. All right, let's get over to rates here. And I promise we'll get back to NVIDIA. Don't worry. But we'll get through everything else here. So 2-year down. 5s were green. 10s, 30s green. 2s and 10s unwinding. Basically, there's your flat line. So they can unwind here tomorrow with another bid if they wanted it. I just want to say, though, the 3-month 10-year is still inverted by 126 basis points. So everybody's talking about the unwind, but this one is not unwinding. That is still heavily distorted. That's how far distorted it is still, that green line there. But we'll see. The dollar got a bounce. I talked about that yesterday, getting attractive. It got a bounce there. I was hoping for it to get a little bit lower, but it got a bid that pulled metals back, and that helped out yields. Yields, I think they look like they want to curl up here. 4% is a big level. If it gets through that, we could see a squeeze to 420 on the 10s. So that's an important level to watch there. Home builders here down 85 cents today. Again, same thing, 1, 2, 3 pullback. So it's the rest of the market looking one way, and then it's tech looking a different way here. Now Q's back down a little bit. NVIDIA 120.50. VNQ down about, well, no, it's down 37 cents, so nothing terrible. Again, one up, 1, 2, 3 pullback. XLF continues to melt higher. Despite Warren Buffett selling Bank of America every single day, JP Morgan just continues to make new all-time highs and new all-time closing highs. So FINs are very strong for the most part here. Goldman, again, right off all-time highs. So XLF, pretty good there. KRE up 49 cents. Not a bad look there. Again, the 1, 2, 3 pullback on all these things. Broker dealers too. So broker dealers in good shape. Oil came in today again, but it did come nicely off the lows. I actually caught a buy signal on this earlier this morning. I didn't get it, but it did trigger for a nice rally. And, it came off the lows. You have higher lows intraday. We'll leave it at that. If it can firm up here, it can try to get back above 78, and then you can firm up the pattern. I still think XLE looks okay. It did back off today, but it wasn't bad. You still have a potential for higher lows. The same thing with XOP, and then the OIH here is still weak. But I still think this bear kind of weekly island ends up failing. That's my general lean here. So, it's not terrible. CCJ here down at $1.19. Again, pulling back 1, 2, 3. So back below 42. It's not the end of the world. You still have plenty of room for higher lows. But you'd want to see this kind of do that soon. You'd want to see, preferably no more than a 618. That doesn't mean it's broken if it does go farther, but it's not as strong. But the URNM, we talked about this yesterday, is showing relative strength and above the 20-day right now. And same thing with the NJ. Nat gas, we had a lot of new contracts today. That did catch a bid. It's trying for a higher low here, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, at this point, it's so close to double bottom. The continuous did hit double bottom, but I don't really go off of that. So individual V contract, slight higher low / pseudo double bottom here. Dollar we talked about up 53 cents. It could still go lower. I wouldn't rule it out on maybe a pierce of 100, but it got a bounce today, and I've been talking about it looking attractive here. I think there's just a lot of people piled in short and a lot of people in long bonds. So we'll see, does it continue or do we have one more push down? Obviously that put some pressure on metals. You see GLD down. This pattern is not broken whatsoever on gold though. I mean, you have a higher low here. Like you didn't even, despite that big move in the dollar, you didn't even take out the low from Thursday. So gold's still in really good shape. Silver did. Now silver has, this is a contract here also. So you can see this one had a little bit more of a weaker move here, but it's not broken. It's all going to depend on the dollar. Does the dollar continue to bounce or does it come back down for that 99 handle? But silver pulling back, platinum definitely pulling back. I think this is, again, it's thin. I don't think this is as sensitive to the dollar as it looks today. And the same thing with palladium. But pretty much all metals pulling back across the board. You see copper there as well. Kind of a gap and crap there. There's the V contract, little outside move. So it's going to come up to the dollar. If the dollar puts in a low here and it can carve out a bottom, then I think metals pull back. Needless to say, but I still was kind of looking for a little bit lower there. All right, Bitcoin didn't crash despite what I was hearing last night. Yeah, it did have a good outside move. So we did close below that, the breakup bar. So definitely wiped out that pattern. But again, you know, my thesis here is the weekly. Not really that concerned with what happens on an intraday. And even if you go to a bi-weekly here, this is just a pullback pattern to the 20 moving average. That's really all it is at the moment. So I'm not really concerned with the noise on the daily. Although, you know, you would prefer it as a bull to stay above that breakup bar. It's not like this is, you know, dead in the water here. I just see a big weekly base. And more so for me, it's about the monthly, which is basing even more. But definitely a little bit weaker. You want to see that recover, you know, probably break back above 62. If we could break above the break up, or that breakdown bar high, 63.2, that would certainly repair some of that damage. Here in the short term, let's just take a fib just for fun here. So we basically, yeah, so your 50% right here, then your 618's at 55.5. So those are levels to watch. And that 618 coincides with that breakup bar. So if that gets tested, I would expect that to get some sort of technical bounce there. But definitely weaker on the daily. But that does not change the bigger time frames to me. So let's see, NVIDIA, it's holding up at 121 right now after hours. It's done this a few times before where it kind of bounced around after hours and then it ripped higher when the earnings call started. We'll see what it does. But that is dragging the NQ down a little bit. Still above the lows. ES obviously a little bit less affected, a little less weighted. You can see it in tough, you know, more firm shape there. And the SMH after hours trying to claw back. So we'll see what it does here tomorrow. But bottom line, again, still just noise until we break this range. And for me, I know there's a lot of lines here, but you know, here, just get rid. Let's just keep it simple. So this green bar low here, that's your inside bar. As long as we're above that on a closing basis, I'm going to defer to the trend here. So keep it simple. And that's usually a pretty good strategy. So NVIDIA 121, we'll see what we get tomorrow. Still has a bull flag there too on the daily. but got to firm up a little bit here in the after hours. We'll see if Jensen Wang comes in for the save, as he usually does. But anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.